Solidarity has settled with the South African Post Office over arrears in contributions of more than 600 million rand. The trade union approached the Labour Court to force the Post Office to pay over medical contributions to Medipos. Let's now speak to Solidarity's strategic specialist, Morne Malan, who joins us via Zoom. Morne, thank you for making time. What are the details of this settlement between the Post Office and Medipos?
Well, Clement, the details are basically that rather than having to pay the entire amount back to the Medipos, the medical scheme for post office workers, they'll pay a lower minimum amount, which still retains the solvency of the scheme itself, but which allows them to maintain the coverage for all of the employees. So from the beginning, we had two goals in mind. We wanted to make sure that we protect the employees' medical coverage, and that we want to ensure that they can rest assured that by 1 October, come 1 October, they can rest easy and know that they will have medical aid coverage, something which wasn't guaranteed until yesterday. And then the second one was that we wanted to make sure that it is, or at least has the potential to be, a sustainable solution, rather than merely a delay of the inevitable or kicking up the can down the road. And we're satisfied that the settlement has accomplished that.
Yeah. Do they even have that minimum payment that they're required to pay?
Look, we will concede that the post office is in a dire financial circumstance. They argue that it's chiefly due to COVID. Of course, we believe that there are certain other factors which are played as well. But no, the proposal for the payment plan actually originated from the post office itself. So we're confident that they can make the payments, and we're confident that at least in the short term or short to medium term, we have a solution.
Yeah. When exactly did they stop paying the contributions? And just to clarify, so the employees of the post office continued to pay their contributions, but the company was simply not transferring that money to the medical aid?
Exactly, yes. The deductions were still being made from salaries, but the payments over to the post office, to the medical scheme was never made. And this took place, I can't remember the exact timeline off the top of my head, but it was for just about a year now.
Yeah. Was there an impact on employees? Because I remember Medipos warning a few weeks ago that if contributions were not being paid, SAPO employees ran the risk of losing their benefits.
Yes, well, that's what I alluded to earlier, is that there was no guarantee, and the threat actually from Medipos was that if the post office didn't make the payments for the month, or didn't manage to pay the arrears, then come the end of this week on 1 October, then they would not have been able to provide any coverage to the employees of the post office whatsoever. So, I mean, that's just a terrible circumstance. We have certain members who have chronic diseases. There are so many people who are so reliant on the fact that they have medical coverage, and for them, often at an advanced stage in their lives, to have to seek private medical care or private medical coverage was just simply not possible. So we are quite satisfied with the result at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Has the Council for Medical Aid Schemes approved this settlement?
That is one factor which still has to be determined. The Medipost has to now apply to the Council of Medical Schemes. Of course, the entire agreement is subject to their approval. We are confident at the moment, perhaps cautiously optimistic, that the Council will approve it. It does appear as though the reserve requirement will be retained based on actuarial calculations, but should the Council not approve the proposal, the settlement, then the case will be brought to the Labour Court once again at the end of November. And there is a guarantee built within this settlement that Medipost will cover all the medical costs for the members, for the employees, up until the end of November.
And if they fail to meet its obligations again? That's the post office. What happens? Do you have a plan? I mean, you've had to go to court to force them to meet their obligations.
Yes, well, there are various mechanisms worked into the settlement agreement. Should they fail to make payment, either the first payment, which is due on or before the 8th of October, or at any process during the next year or so, but more than a year. The fact that the settlement was also taken up into court decision and put into a draft order of the court, that provides a little bit of extra protection. So it's not just an agreement between parties, which is governed by contract law. It's also an order of the court, which means that failure to comply with the terms of the agreement does amount to more than just merely a failure to comply to a contractual obligation. So we are quite confident that should the post office fail to meet their obligations in terms of the agreement, then we'll have a broader range of remedies in order to ensure compliance in the future.
All right, strategic specialist at Solidarity, Morne Malan. I appreciate your time on the lead this afternoon.